back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech. 3, 2, 1, 0. Chris, back to the matter at hand for the overtime edition of the Matador Mob Mailbag. Interesting scenario proposed here by Hayden. Do you think there's any potential negative effect when you turn to the high school or prep level ranks, given all the attention you've paid to the transfer portal recently?
Funny story. It's not funny. It's kind of sad, actually. There is actually a former player that transferred out in the last year, and his parent has tried to tell everybody that would listen in DMs and on the socials, this is what you get. This is why we're leaving, because this is what you get. You went to the portal and so this is what I hope this keeps happening to you. People like us are, and you're screwing yourself and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, what an angry person, man. People can do what they want, man. And when these messages have reached me or people that I know, my advice is be like, don't engage, don't punch down. Like those are their issues. They need to deal with those. Point being, I do think that some try to use that against you. Look, everybody. I mean, somebody's clearly trying to tell some player that Joey's leaving here or he's looking to leave. I mean, so if that's the case, he's the least likely of any football coach that I've ever dealt with here. He's the least likeliest to leave his current post is your current one. I mean, even Mike was kind of, he got frustrated with the contract. Even Cliff, it was always like, man, does he want to do the NFL? Does he want to kind of go live on the beach somewhere? Just do something else. Like, what was it for the, Tubbs clearly wasn't ever here for the long haul. With Matt, was it ever going to work out? Anyways, whatever. So if people are using Joey's status here is in question, hell yeah, they're going to bring up, if you're using the portal too much, or like, you don't want to go there, they're just going to recruit over you. And what are you doing? And that may well be true. So maybe this isn't the place for you. You've got to, it's part of the choice that you've made. And guess what? Depending on what the shopping list looks like this coming December, you're going to do it again. I don't know if it will be anywhere near the, the amount, but you're going to recruit over somebody, and there would be a reason why, though. You're trying to win and win now. There's somebody out there that's been really good. Let's do it. And you've got extra rev share money to throw around. So, but yeah, there's a mix there.
You would hope that if there's anybody that's capable of keeping those bridges solidly unburnt, it would be Joey McGuire. And I would also think that, just like you're speaking to there, at some point it's just the reality of the situation. And if there's some like acrimony as it relates to a college coach doing his best to most immediately assemble a quality roster, then that's more on the guy who's got beef with it than it is the college coach or the program who's trying to win yesterday. So I think at the end of the day, if you're a relevant, competitive, and well-resourced, well-intentioned program, athletes are going to want to be a part of it. High school coaches are going to want their athletes to be a part of it, just like they always have or haven't. So I don't know if there's really any change whatsoever as far as, too much portal. Now that's hurting you as far as relationships among, the high school ranks. I don't think that would be the case, but I'm sure that Joey McGuire is as capable of navigating those waters as anybody could be.
Yeah. And some of the guys that ultimately left, they were at one point. These weren't like high school players, because typically the portal player is only going to be here a year or two. So it's a.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. I didn't get the parent beef perspective. That was because their kid left after like a
they wanted more time. They wanted more time to develop. Or, man, this should be my time to get to start playing right now. And you've brought in the people, and now they're in my way, or my son's way. How dare you? And so screw everybody around here. Y'all are all terrible people. Man, it's a business. It works both ways, man. Kick rocks. If
Well,
it's
that
not,
is probably
yeah,
what you think to yourself in your
yeah,
car, and then you move on
yeah,
with your life
yeah. I mean, it's
instead of
just like,
and
hey, man, be better.
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
It wouldn't be on the shopping list if those shoes were capably thought to be filled at whatever.
We should have. It should have been us. It should have been out there. It's like, yeah, y'all are misevaluated. I mean, whatever. Everybody's got a. I mean, again, this is people can do what they want. Don't get mad at people for getting to do what they want. And again, nobody's besmirching your reputation because you chose to leave. Like, go do your thing, man. Free, we live in a lovely country. You're allowed to go play college ball if somebody will have you wherever you want. So go do your thing, get your education and all that, and everybody here will do the same. So, hey, man, I mean, thumbs up to you. Good luck.
A man can have in his life is when they understand that no other human can feel your pain. So just go to sleep with that knowledge, dear disgruntled parent, and wake up the next day with a little less care on your shoulder. Maybe about all of that. I think it will be beneficial moving forward. I'm sure that parent is watching the OT and subscribed to the Matador Mob. Thank you for being out there. This question here from Cody. We've got triple question marks, and it starts off, why the hell? So we've got some intensity to this question from Cody. Why the hell is Mr. Level not getting his ballot or not voting in the media poll? We've got outrage.
Yeah, they don't. Okay, so typically the Big 12, they don't send it out. It's very antiquated. It's very, I mean, like when I was doing radio, where we used to do radio, we would talk about this on a yearly basis. Some years, 60 people may vote in this thing. Some years, 105 may vote in it. It was so inexact, and yet it's treated like the Holy Grail. Like once it's turned and it's reported, it's like, whoa, look at what the media. Well, no, not all the media, and they would. I think unless it's been changed, you would get this thing. You have to write in it. I mean, this is how old this is. It's almost like the fax machine as it relates to signing day. You would have to write it and fax it or scan it back. You can't just fill it out electronically. What are we doing? But if I get it, I will fill it out. I'll publicize it. I don't have a problem with that. But no, they don't. At least in the past, and I think the Big 12 typically has, well, in recent years they've changed their communication staff a bit. It's like all athletics communications and content creation. That whole realm is a lot of turnover and all those things. So yeah, if it were to be sent to me, then sure. But it's like they don't make that readily available. And like, who are you sending it to? I don't know.
It's an exercise in futility for very serious journalists. So let's let the very serious have very serious fun with it, and then we'll watch them be wrong as they always are, and we'll move on with our lives. But I do like the outrage when Chris Level's not involved. Let's make sure we carry that, I think, to all categories. Thank you for that question. This question here from James, other than actually winning them, what do we want to see to actually resemble non-conference success? Are we talking blowouts? Are we talking defensive dominance? Is it a QB performance, rushing game impact? Is there anything beyond a final score you think would really stand out and have you feeling good?
Man, this feels like a question that we should talk about like August the 27th. Hey, what are you looking for this Saturday?
That's right.
Generally speaking,
practicing talking about it now.
Yeah, that's right. Generally speaking, yeah, I think you want to see. These would be fair. I have been anti-beauty contests with some of this upcoming season. I think that it is fair in some of these non-conference games that it's okay to have a beauty contest aspect to it. Like it's supposed to look a certain way. If you are as good as you would hope. And part of you says maybe it's okay not to be like so dominant and you kind of keep the thumb on them and be like, you can kind of keep challenging them if you're the coach. I want to see, Barron feel very comfortable. I would really be looking at if what I want to see ultimately, and I think the rest comes with it. I want to see dominance on the line of scrimmage. That's what I want to see.
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. And if your quarterback's got time, if I don't care who's carrying the football, if they've got, room and space and all these things, and then if the other quarterback's having a hard time because of what you're doing, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I'll start to worry. Really, anything else, I don't really care. I'm not worried. I wouldn't be worried about your kicker. Wouldn't be worried about secondary. Wouldn't be worried about how explosive your offense is, or this player or that player or whatever. Now, I would entertain how comfortable Barron is and like what it looks like with a new scheme and all that. Dominance up front. That's what I want to see.
Well, all the things you're saying right there will all fall into place in beautiful fashion if the line of scrimmage is headed the right way on both sides. That's immediately where I was going to go. And I want to see, I'm talking consistent dominance or close to that, because I think what you have on your roster compared or combined with the challenges you're going to have in the non-conference justify that kind of expectation. So to me, I want
to see some big boys up front. And it doesn't need to be all transfer guys. It doesn't matter. I want to see all those big boys up front open up a can repeatedly all fall. That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
Dirty rack.
Yeah. I hope they got a pallet. I hope they got a pallet of whoop ass of sitting back there in the bowels of, and they pack some of it for every game that they play. That
sounds like an awesome new prop to have on the sideline with the pump jack. Let's get a forklift with a pallet and a crate marked whoop ass.
Yeah.
If things don't go well, we're gonna have to shuffle it off into the tunnel real quick. But when it's going well, it'll be awesome. All right, thank you for that question. This question here from Bob. We've heard a lot about how both of these lines, we can stick with the trenches, are much bigger. Do you know actually weight-wise, size-wise, throwing height, whatever, from a numbers standpoint, how much bigger than maybe last year or some recent years?
Well, it's defensive line-wise significantly. But offensive line-wise, you're a lot taller and longer. Dalton Merriman was really tall, and he was a big kid. He just struggled quite a bit. That's Houston and Connor Wegman's problem now. If he end up cracking the starting lineup, but I'd have to get back to you on that on like some data on exactly how much. But think about it in these terms. Vinny Scurry's a big fella, and if he's not even in your starting lineup, that just kind of tells you where things are at on that side. And then you didn't have anybody that was like 6'8", 330 last year, like Howard Sampson is. Will Jados is a big guy, Zambrano's a very large human. That picture was sent a picture with Debbie McGuire, Joey's wife, and Joey may have been the one that took it. And it was Jados, Zambrano, and Howard Sampson with sweet little Debbie right there. I'm like, she's either really tiny or we brought in large humans. And I think that the truth is that the answer is yes on all aspects. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that question. This question here from Anthony, Roberto, Seth, Michael, David, Clay, Scott. 2 names, Ben Henschel, Jalen Petty. Anything to offer on either of these guys, Chris?
Kansas just added a few guys this week to their roster, so it's still going on. All the thing, but Henschel was in Perth. He was posting from Perth, Australia, a few days ago. So the dates I would suggest to watch. I don't know anything new there. The dates I would suggest to watch are, I guess it would be right after the July 4th holiday when like the second session summer school were to start. So that's going to be like around the 7th-ish, somewhere around in there, like about the time that Big 12 media days are getting going. So like the 7th-ish, maybe that Monday or Tuesday when the second session of summer classes start. That would be a date to watch to see if there's any movement here. If you get past that date and there's no movement, then the next date would be when classes start, August the 26th or 27th or whatever that is. And so for right now, we wait. I guess I just don't think. I mean, remember when like Corbin Green slipped in here, like last year, and is like, he's been here how long? Who's this dude? And granted, he was a walk on, and it was a kind of a non. He's a good practice player and all that stuff, but I just don't think you're necessarily done with your roster. But again, there's no guarantees on either side of this. I think these are the two players we're aware of. It doesn't mean there's people that won't enter the equation. Again, if there's been anything signed and somebody decides, yeah, we're not going to go this route, you just tear it up and like move on. So nobody's obligated here on anything. I just think there's been arrangements for this to be a soft place to land if either player would choose to go this route.
All right, good to know. Thank you for that question. Luke says, JT Toppin, Christian Anderson, Lawan Watts, or somebody else, who is the best player on your roster in 2025? This in a week where Christian Anderson sounds like he's turning some heads.
Oh yeah, like, is this best player, best pro prospect, best? God dang, that is a wonderful question. I probably by default would just say to you that it's probably JT, just because aren't I an idiot if I don't say that? He's just the Big 12 Player of the Year. I mean, it's like somebody not picking Arizona State to win the Big 12. Like, what y'all just watch? We got all these people back. Like, we're what are you doing? I think I'm overthinking it if I try to go. However, I think Christian Anderson will ultimately be better. I think Christian Anderson is going to be a draft pick, and could. And again, is he? How much longer is he here? I think if Christian Anderson is here, if he plays 2 more seasons here, I think we are talking about him the way we talk about Keenan Evans. But I think with more pro potential, a lot more.
Interesting. And Luke was including in his answer, if it was Christian Anderson, the thought of like a Jarrett Culver-esque jump, where all of a sudden it's like, wow, this dude's in a Conference Player of the Year kind of category. So given what Anderson's been so far, I'm just going to leave some room for him to continue to exceed expectations. And maybe we'll get something really special this next time around, which would be a ton of fun. Thank you, Luke, for that question. Milo says he has a question regarding United Supermarkets Arena, facilities arms races. He says, USA is going to be 26 years old come October 1st in the new era of revenue sharing and universities cutting costs wherever they can. You ever see a possibility of Tech in the city of Lubbock partnering? He lists some that have, like Kentucky, Louisville, Creighton, Memphis, Nebraska, St. John's, North Carolina State, UConn. Said it could be good for Lubbock downtown and good for Tech if you're cutting costs. You ever see that kind of scenario maybe being possible a decade or more down the road?
My father-in-law is actually on the board or one of the committees for the city that is trying to get a new civic center / the fairgrounds, and they've been working on it. They've got a bunch of money raised. They still need a bunch more, and it would be like an alternative. But no, for Texas Tech basketball, that's where they're setting up shop for a decade longer. Off into the distance. I think that arena was built really well. I think they've done a really good job of maintaining it, keeping it fresh, tweaking it as needed. There's been various, minor updates with the technology in it. Some of it you're stuck with, but large in part, I think that's what you're rolling with. But to the other point, I think the folks in the city are trying to come up with something that would be an alternative for whatever other events would be attractive here, mainly the fair and
gotcha.
All those kinds of things, like the rodeo events, the dirt events, and all those kinds of things. I think, there's an effort being made, but they're 2 or 3 years down the road with it, and it's just been hard to get money raised for something like that. But no, as far as like partnering with the Texas Tech thing, no.
Yeah, they're having a good old tooth pulling time with the old Expo Center, it sounds like. So that'll continue, I'm sure, into the future. And there's nothing I look at about the USA and think, man, this is outdated. Or, boy, you'd do this a different way if you could. I know there's, like you said, there's been technological improvements and things along the way. At one point in time, there was just talk about we need more practice facility space. Well, obviously, you got that in the form of one of the nation's best standalone practice facilities there just across the road. The general complaint, I guess, that I just hear is it's too big, and that's never been a complaint of mine. So I don't even subscribe to that. But I think you're in good shape as far as United Supermarkets Arena and as far as city ambitions. Otherwise, we wish them the best of luck and thank everybody for their service who's contributing to those efforts. Thank you for that question. This question here, let's see. Tim is asking if we're seeing anything regarding contract termination fees. Is there anything relative to a contract value or contract length if the thing is not being fulfilled?
Yeah, I don't know if I know too many details there. I do think that there is a price, like in other words, if you sign somebody to a 2-year contract and you say we're not going this route, yeah, there would be a penalty to pay, and I do think that money counts against your cap, or it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there is like also language in some of this stuff to where if somebody's in a contract at an institution, they get into the portal, whether it's the player or the new school, they've got to pay a price to buy somebody out of a contract. And that also is supposed to count against your cap. Again, brave new world. We're trying to get all this stuff figured out. So yeah. We're in the weeds here, but we'll start to get a clearer picture as we get a bit further along.
Okay. This question here, Hayden and Brian both asking about Leamian Gayton. Any chance we could heavily recruit or actually land this player? Was the visit about a teammate? What do you know about Mr. Gayton?
Well, I believe this is the player that his quarterback is committed to you. I think he's a year younger. There's a year difference here. He's one of the top players in the country for the 2027 cycle. And yeah, this is where you would wish that you had free reign, like you could go, yeah, let's figure out a workaround, or I miss the old set of rules. Like you could, if you wanted to, you could make something like this happen under those circumstances. But I think that may be what it takes here. But there's some relationships there, and having, because that's what you've been able to do is you've gotten really good players to visit here. And if anything, if it doesn't pay off initially and they go to the Blue Bloods and they go to the whatever, and you're still like not getting these guys, you are getting them to visit. But there is this thing called the transfer portal, and you get around them and you still build a rapport, and then you don't burn the bridge. You leave it completely operational and shined up and good to go. And then when the call comes, or the third party is like, hey man, I think he's looking to get in the portal. What do you think? Yep. It's all, we got a locker for him, man. Let's do it. So there's a method to the madness here. It may not happen as quickly as people would want it. Of course, you love every 4 or 5 star that rolls in here to be like, to commit, and then you're at the top of the team rankings and all those things. But there are other ways to add talent these days too. And you just keep putting your best foot forward and hope that it keeps paying off.
All right. Thank you for that one. Couple more before we wrap her up. Kent says he loves the football portal class. It's awesome to say the least. But Kent says, I'm curious as to why Tech did not try to sign another linebacker. Jacob Rodriguez is a stud, but seems we could have used more depth and speed. Is Tech confident in that area?
Yes, they are. I think between Bryce Ramirez, John Curry, I mean, I just think he's going to be special here. I think he's going to take the baton when Jacob leaves and be what Jacob has been. And you may see them both at times this year. You still got Ben Roberts, you got Bryce Ramirez, you got Dingle. Justin Horn is dinged up still from last year. But I just don't think they were worried about it. And again, depending on scheme, you can get caught up into some of this stuff. You know who's a linebacker? David Bailey's a linebacker. Romello Height is a linebacker. I mean, like this is how the NFL folks view them. Like, you know, we think of them as edge or defensive end, but in like a 3-4, they're a linebacker. You know, and so you could go. I mean, there's nothing that says you can't trot out Lee Hunter, Skylar Gill Howard, AJ Holmes, and Duda Banks up front, and then put Jacob Rodriguez, Romello Height, and David Bailey out there. If you want to really start cooking with gas, I mean, where's the pallet of whoop ass there? I mean, so like I'm just saying, like, don't get yourself caught up into thinking about this is the way it's supposed to look or whatever. No, there's a lot of options here, a lot of position flex that I think they can have a field day with. And you still got all those young guys. I mean, they're just swimming in bodies over there for the first time in a long time. So, and Shield Wood is probably got to be going, yeah, I mean, we could do this, but dang, man, we could do that. And I kind of like that better than this. But when I woke up this morning, this seemed really good. And, you know, so I mean, it's just like, yeah, I don't think that they needed to go that route. I really don't.
You can only have 11 guys on the field. And,
right.
You know, at some various points, there's going to be probably a talented guy on the sideline.
Yeah, and technically they did add linebackers. They did. They didn't add interior linebackers. It's maybe the and so there's a difference there. But so anyway.
All right, thank you for that question. Brian says it sure seems like the CBS piece on Cody Campbell and Texas Tech was really good. Any idea of the impact on that, or are my scarlet-colored glasses making me think it was better than it actually was?
No, it is a great piece. I think, and what I think a lot of people appreciated about it, you'd heard a lot of these things before, but I think what Shahan did a really good job of is like really telling the story of the city that the story is taking place in. Lubbock takes a lot of shots. I think when people start doing the geography smack talk, I just check out. I'm like, I can't deal with you, man, because like where some of these people where they live and they're trying to take a shot, and so many people pop off about Lubbock that hadn't been here in 20 years, you know, or maybe even never been here. They just read it online and it must be true, and like away you go. There's a lot of my fellow media guys in other markets that work with either rivals or whatever it is, and they get into recruiting smack talk, and they're talking like, man, I mean, yeah, if he goes there, he's gonna just have to choose to live in Lubbock for 3 or 4 years as opposed to living in my thriving metropolis of a city. Yeah, right. And your thriving metropolis of a city has got homeless people everywhere. It's burning down. They're defunding the police. Piss off, okay? Because I like where I live, man, and I'd rather drink turpentine and piss on a brush fire than live where you live. How about that?
But Chris, they're 30 minutes from Topeka or Oklahoma City.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that question. And what a way to wrap it up. The bucket is empty. Chris, hit the IV, get recharged. We got a big week on the other side. It's a freedom kind of week on the other side. So looking forward to it, man. Appreciate all your time this week, regulation and overtime. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Hope it is alive, and I like where I live. You do too, and we ain't changing. So inject the 806 right into my veins all the time. So anyway, enjoyed it. Thank you to the mob folks out there. Great questions as always. We'll do it again next time.
Couple of lessons from the cinematic classic Out Cold. Number 1, anybody that tells you can't buy love with money ain't never been to Reno. Number 2, don't go changing. Thanks for being out there. Thanks for being mobsters. Keep the questions coming all the time on any subject, and we hope to see you on the other side. For Chris, I'm Casey, and we'll see you on Monday.